St Ava class, I hope you're all very well and you had a lovely weekend. First I want to just say thank you for all of you that sent me your rock pool creatures. They are brilliant. There are some very funny ones. You used some great features from the different creatures to make an ultimate rock pool creature, so well done, I'm so impressed. Today we are going to look at tongue twisters. Now, tongue twisters do exactly that. They get your tongue in a twist and they make them, they're really hard to read and say sometimes, and we're going to have a look at why. So we're going to look at some tongue twisters together, see if we can read them together and see if we can figure out why they're so hard. So let's look at the first one. Okay, let me move a little bit so you can see. So let's see if we can read this together. Ready? We'll read it slowly first. So, she sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells. Okay, did you manage it? Well done. Okay, let's see if we can do it a bit quicker and have a think when you're reading it, what's making your tongue get in a twist? She sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells. Well done, they are so tricky. So have a look. Why do you think that is a tongue twister? What makes it hard? Okay, so first of all, do a lot of the words begin with the same letter? Have a look. Yeah, you're right. Lots and lots of the words all begin with a S, an S. And some of the words also begin with a sh sound. So s and sh swapped around make it really tricky when you say the words. So having lots of S's in there is one thing that makes it really difficult to read. What else do you think makes it difficult to read? Have a look. Are there lots of the same words in there? Do they repeat a lot of words? Well done. So we do repeat. We've got she sells, she sells a lot. We've got seashore used a lot. We've got sea used a lot. So there's a lot of repeating of the same words, but in different orders, which makes it really difficult to say the right word at the right time. Okay, have a look. Can you see any words that rhyme? Can you see any words that rhyme? Have a look. You found some? Well done. So we've got sells and shells. And the only difference between those words is the s and the sh. So again, it makes them really tricky, not only just to say both of them, but they keep switching them around in the tongue twister. So it gets very confusing when you're trying to say it. So far in a tongue twister, we have lots of words beginning with the same letter. We have words that rhyme with each other. Okay, and we have the same words repeating over and over again. Okay, let's try a different one together. So, this one's called Peter Piper. You may have heard this one before. Again, we'll read it together slowly, then we'll see if we can do it faster. So, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Did Peter Piper pick a peck of pickled peppers? If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Did you manage it? Okay, well done. Let's see if we can do it a bit faster and see if we can keep our tongues from getting in a twist. Ready? So, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Did Peter Piper pick a peck of pickled peppers? If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? Hands up if your tongue got in a twist. Mine did. Okay, so think about what we found out with the last tongue twister. Let's see if we've got the same things in here. So, are there lots of words that begin with the same letter? Yes, nearly every word begins with a P, a P. And do we have lots of the same words repeating with each other? And we do. We've got Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. That's kind of the main sentence. And then they use the same words but just jumble them into a different order for the other sentences to make it a tongue twister. Do we have any rhyming words in Peter Piper? Okay, so we don't have necessarily rhyming words, but we've got words that are really, really similar to each other, which again makes it so hard to say. So pick and peck, nearly the same word except for the I and the E. And they use those two words together to make it complicated, and then they switch them around as well. Okay, so we've got pick and peck, then we've got pickled. Again, making it really tricky. So we've got our repeating letter, we've got our repeating words, we've got the same letter at the start of most words, and we've got very similar sounding words. Okay, let's have a look at another one together. Okay, woodchuck. So let's read it slowly together first. Are you ready? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would chuck, he would, as much as he could, and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would, if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Okay, that one's a really tricky one. I definitely got tongue-tied there. Let's have another go, see if we can do a little bit quicker. You ready? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? He would chuck, he would, as much as he could, and chuck as much wood as a woodchuck would, if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Did you manage it? Well done. Okay, so let's go back through our list. Another tongue twister. Does this have the same things as the others? Do we have a lot of words beginning with the same letter? Have a look. Can you spot which letter it is? Okay, well done. We've got a lot of words beginning with a W. Wood, woodchuck. Okay, so we've got a lot of W words in there. Do they repeat the same words a lot? Have a look. There's lots of repeating. You're right, I think so too. So we've got woodchuck and chuck, and would and could repeated a lot. Do we have rhyming words in there? Are there words that sound the same that again make it really tricky for us to read? Can you spot any rhyming words? Okay, well done if you spotted them. So we've got would and could. Would and could, two rhyming words. We also have something else in there which makes it really tricky. Can anyone spot it? Have a little look. What else makes that tongue twister really tricky? Okay, well done if you found it. It is tricky, but we've got would and would. Okay, so we've learnt these before in our phonics lessons, where one word sounds the same, exactly the same, but it's spelt a different way because it has a different meaning. So, wood, this is the hardwood that we make doors out of, floors out of, knock on it. So that's wood. And then we've got this wood, which is the same as I would like to go to the park. I would like a cup of tea. And they use them next to each other, and it makes it really confusing when we say it. So we've got words with the same letter. We've got rhyming words. We've got repeating words. And we have words that mean different things but sound exactly the same, so even make it even harder. Okay, let's look at one more together and see if you can spot, as we read this, the patterns we've noticed in all the others. Okay, so this one is a tricky one. Are you ready? We'll do it slowly first. Betty Botter had some butter, but, she said, this butter's bitter. If I bake this bitter butter, it would make my batter bitter. but a bit of better butter, that would make my batter better. So she bought a bit of butter, better than her bitter butter, and she baked it in her batter, and the batter was not bitter. So 'twas better, Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. That one was difficult. That one got my tongue in a twist. Did you manage it? Well done. Right, let's see if we can do it a little bit quicker. This one's a really tricky one. You ready? Betty Botter had some butter, but she said, this butter's bitter. If I bake this bitter butter, it would make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter, that would make my batter better. So she bought a bit of butter, better than her bitter butter, and she baked it in her batter, and the batter was not bitter. So 'twas better, Betty Botter bought a bit of better butter. Okay, my tongue definitely got in a twist that time. That was very hard to say. So, let's go through our checklist. Are there words that begin with the same letter? Yeah, we've got lots of words beginning with a B in there, haven't we? Okay, and do we have the same words used a lot throughout the tongue twister? We do, don't we? We've got lots of butter and bitter and Betty used over and over again to make it really difficult to say. Do we have rhyming words in Betty Botter? Have a look. Are there any words that rhyme? So the words don't necessarily rhyme, but there is something about the words that's really, really similar. Can you find it? Can you spot it? There is something in the words that begin with a B that make them all the same as each other. Because they do have a rhyming element, but what is it about it? Why? Well done if you've spotted it. A lot of our B words all end the same. They end with the T, so T, T, E, R. So we've got bitter, butter, botter, batter, all end in the same, which makes it really hard to say because they all start with the same letter, they all end with the same 4 letters, so there's only one letter after the B that changes, which makes this one a really tricky one to say. So, what you're going to have a go at is you're going to have a go at writing your own tongue twister. Okay, so first thing is you want to just have a piece of paper and a pencil. Be a scrap piece of paper or a colouring pencil, felt tip, anything you've got at home. If you don't have one in front of you, pause me now and go run off and find one. Okay, you got one? Good. So, what you're going to do is I want you to choose one letter from the alphabet. It can be any letter, but don't make it a difficult letter. So don't pick Z, because you're not going to be able to think of many words beginning with Z. I definitely can't. So, pick a letter from the alphabet, and then I'm going to give you 1 minute. I want you to write down as many words as you can think of that begin with that letter. Can be any word, can be silly words. They don't have to rhyme. They don't have to have anything to do with each other. Just think of as many words as you can that begin with that letter. So, first job, pick your letter. Have you got one? Good. Second job, I'm going to give you 1 minute. I'm going to do it as well. I'm going to pick a letter. Write down as many words as you can beginning with that letter. You ready? Off you go. Go. Okay, stop. You got some words? Okay, now what we're going to do now is have a look at the words you've got, and you want to be able to try and make a sentence with some of those words in. So, I'll show you what I've done and then you can have a go. So I used the letter D, okay, D, and I came up with lots of words beginning with D. So dog, dream, day, den, daisy, dentist, dig, dent, deep, den, drop, drain. Okay, so I've got lots of words beginning with the letter D. Now, I want to look at the words I've got and think, could any of those go in the same sentence as each other? What could I talk about? So, I think I'm going to use the dog because that's something I can build a sentence up around. So, dog is my first word. And then, what could the dog do that's still a duh? Okay, so I'm going to have a look down my list, and the dog could dig. Okay, so I've got 2 does now. The dog could dig. Okay, what could dog dig? What other duh words could I use? The dog digs. Have a go. What other D words could I use? The dog digs deep. Okay, so let's put deep down. Okay, and I need to name my dog as well. And the best thing to do is probably give my dog a name beginning with duh. So, and I want it to sound similar to dog and dig and deep. So I'm going to call my dog Doug. I think Doug the dog. Okay, D-O-U-G, D-O-U-G, Doug the dog. Okay, so when you've got a few words together that begin with the same letter and they sound quite similar, you can start putting a sentence together. So let's try it with mine. Let's say my dog Doug dug a deep, dark hole. Okay, so I've used 2 words again that sound exactly the same but are spelt differently. Let me see if I can show you. So I'm using my dog Doug. So Doug is his name, but he dug a hole. So the past tense of digging. So instead of digging a hole, he dug a hole. So if I show you the 2 spellings. Okay, so my dog Doug, so this is his name. Dug, which is the past tense of digging. So my dog Doug dug a deep, dark hole. There's my first sentence. Okay, can you create yours? Once you've done a sentence, you then kind of want to keep using the same words, but switching them around. So if I made a second sentence of mine, I could be my dog Doug dug a deep, dark hole. Doug digs holes, so deep, dark holes, to hide deep down his deep, dark hole, his bone. Okay, so what you can do is take the words you've chosen for your first sentence. So do your first sentence first. And then what you want to start doing is jumbling those words around in maybe 1 or 2 more sentences to create your tongue twister. So have a go at home. Remember, pick a word that begins with your letter, start there. Then what other words could you use beginning with the same letter to build a sentence? Build that first sentence first. Once you're happy with that, see if you can make 2 more sentences, switching those words around, making it nice and confusing to create your tongue twister. Remember the things we found in a tongue twister. So, could you put in words that rhyme? Could you make sure you repeat your words quite a lot throughout the whole tongue twister? And make sure most of your words start with the same letter. Okay? So have fun. Create your tongue twisters. Once you've created them, give them to your brothers or sisters or the adults in your house. See if they can read it and see if you manage to get their tongue in a twist. And don't forget, if you want to show me, send it to St Ava at stjohnshorsham.school. I would love to see them. And I will see you on Wednesday.